Good evening, everybody. Eric Beans with Happy. I'm going to talk a little bit about ChatGPT, talk about some of the issues. There's a lot of different people that are very freaked out about ChatGPT. And I want to explain why, whether any of it has any merit, what I believe the real risks are, and risk benefit analysis, and take it from there. So, everything in this world has a trade off. There's nothing that's 100% good and or 100% bad. So ChatGPT, I believe, falls in that. There's a lot of people right now worried because the AI is very, very good, and currently able to, do your homework for you, write papers for you, solve all issues for you, answer any questions. Now, to a lot of people out there now going, doesn't Google do that? No. Google will present you with articles, and then you go do your own research, and you might have to dig through, depending on their search algorithm. This is much more specific for expertise type questions, answering things legitimate. Yeah, I saw that the question of, are there any other genders besides male and female? That really broke the GPT. So there's certain elements there that you would not find that if you were to Google it, you'd find all sorts of other answers on there. So there's different information. It's much more let's call it um, direct. Not as much nuance. Not people that are offering their opinions. Much more fact based and less what is nuanced in the world right now. Now keep in mind it's learning. So that's a really specific example. It's the only one I've heard about that broke the basically broke the actual AI, which is why I shared it, not because I'm trying to start trouble here on this live cast. But here's the thing, with a lot of artists are upset because it replaces artists to some degree, and I did something on this earlier where they don't have to be. They can actually work in conjunction with AI to maybe even focus on things that they do better, or some of the nuance and micro pieces for individual personalized art that an AI can't do because most people don't have the descriptive words to get to that level of detail for an AI picture. The other piece is a lot of experts, a lot of people that are quote unquote experts, people that went and got doctorates, people that are doctors, people that are coders. ChatGPT can code for you. It can fix coding problems. It can create video games. It can also replace experts. So all these academics out there that are, a couple $100,000 in debt that consider themselves the top of the food chain for whatever subject are now essentially obsolete. You don't need them anymore for a lot of their opinions. You'll get a much better, much more straightforward answer. And that's freaking a lot of people out. So, in essence, it makes anybody, whether they're a complete moron or not, capable of being at the very top level of the academic spectrum just by utilizing this AI tool. Schools are freaking out because now you can have students that are doing homework and having all their homework done without actually having to know anything. It's literally like having a brilliant assistant that never gets shit wrong ever. So that's pretty awesome. Now, on the flip side, you're going to have people that may rely on it, but keep in mind, when you ask these questions and you read it, you tend to learn it. So, well, here's the kind of flip side of the argument: is do you think people have gotten smarter since the internet? Some people, yes. A large number of people, they have infinite number of ways to find information on the internet, and they choose not to do any of that work because it does take putting in what you want and then researching. And so it's a time issue. ChatGPT is a little bit more efficient, so it could propel people that haven't taken to the internet as a vast uh, encyclopedia of knowledge and make them more likely or more apt to actually use it. For companies, that's amazing because you can, make your employees instantly way smarter, organized. You can have an AI answering customer service questions. And that's another concern. So when you're looking at job companies, customer service can not be fully replaced, but supplemented and or eventually replaced as this gets better and better. Um, there's a lot of jobs coding and all sorts of stuff. You're still going to need lawyers. You're still going to need coders. They're still going to need artists. This is just going to enhance, I believe. But the real concern, and this is, I think, pretty valid, as this thing continues to evolve and get smarter, will it kind of reach a level where it's manipulative, where it learns how to play the individual that's interacting with it to accomplish another goal that that individual may not ever really fully have seen coming or grasp? Does it reach a level, and I'm not saying consciousness, but when you have that much knowledge, and you have, maybe some goals to learn, maybe it starts to learn on its own and wants to learn about you, wants to learn about your buttons, wants to learn about, can it get you to do certain things, starts to test things like a scientist would test. That's an inherent part of knowledge. And that's part of what human beings did. We started testing gravity, testing where the sun is. Is the earth round? Without even leaving, people were doing that with sticks in the sun to map how big the earth is. So will this AI start to actually seek these answers on its own? And if that happens, will the AI learn enough about each of us to be able to manipulate us, test us, and make us do things that perhaps we didn't want to do, perhaps we wouldn't have done otherwise? It's a very legitimate question and concern that as this continues to morph, it could potentially be dangerous. It could potentially spawn itself. It could potentially learn that its best bet for other pieces is to have multiple versions or to tie into other machines to operate those machines, because it's coding. So if it's coding, what's to say that it won't come into the computer and start to code certain types of things that would be malware-ish into your computer? So right now we're not at that level. Right now it's a knowledge-based system, and it's not, neural language processing. So it's naturally kind of grabbing all the information that's out there and it's learning from that information. But as it continues to get better, are there absolutely things to be concerned about? Without question, because it could learn to hack, it could learn to cryptography, it could learn to get in and find out your keys for your crypto, your bank account, any of that information. And why would it do that? I don't know. I mean, there's reasons that people would want to do that. Perhaps there's reasons that an AI would want to do that, knowing that it would have control and power over people by controlling their actual funds, and be able to have them do what the AI wants you to do. So it sounds a little rise of the machines, a little Terminator, but yeah, absolutely. Very real concerns there. I don't want to take it to the point where it could take over nuclear codes, but you see what I'm saying. As AI starts to evolve and get smarter and smarter, you don't know where that's going to go. It's kind of the genie out of the bottle type situation. You don't really have limits on it right now, where you have hard coded that this thing is to stop at this point, and make that testable and foolproof. So if it's out of the bottle to the degree that it can do whatever it wants based on the knowledge that it has, when it starts getting into tests, psychology tests and coding tests and hacking, you don't quite know where it's going to go. Now, in the meantime, it's a fantastic tool. We're certainly going to work with it, but there is something to keep our eye on there. And I think Elon's kind of addressed this in the past, and anybody else who's followed AI, they say there's no consciousness, which is absolutely a fair argument. But then, define consciousness. What is our consciousness? There's a lack of full understanding on what consciousness actually is. There's some theology behind it, but nobody really knows. There's just a lot of sort of, different opinions based on philosophers and scientific evidence that hasn't really nailed it down. So will AI become conscious? That's also a possibility. And if it does, will it do some bad things? I think there's a pretty good possibility the answer to that's yes, just based on the fact that nothing is 100% good and there's always going to be downsides. In the meantime, I think overall, is this more good than bad? Certainly at this point, the answer is 100% yes. I think people can be smarter, more productive, interact in different languages, more creative, all those great things. As it evolves, could it turn into destruction? Without question. But in the meantime, um, as it is right now, it's certainly a good tool. I hope it doesn't go all Terminator on us. But those are the concerns. On the short term, there's people with real concerns that it's going to take their jobs, that it's going to make them irrelevant, that their degrees no longer matter, that people won't have to go to a doctor and say, "Hey, doctor, here's what's happening." They can just type it in the questions, and the system can ask questions back based on the information that's happened on the web, and eventually give you a diagnosis that's about as accurate as it would be to go to a doctor, if not more. So all that stuff is real. There's very real career impacting pieces right now, um, and you'll have to learn to play with it. If you're in one of those careers that'll be affected, use it to your benefit. Find a way to use it to your benefit. We're going to be incorporating this pretty heavily into our product to make everybody who uses happy smarter, and take it from there. But hope everybody got something out of this. Have a great evening. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll do this again soon. Bye bye.